If you have a dog, I would like to start with you thinking about your dog. Is your dog super energetic or super lazy? I think dogs are a lot like us. You know, they're extroverts and they're introverts. I'm fortunate enough to have one of each. One of my dogs, he's always wants to go say hi to everybody and wants to make new friends. And the other one, he's very close with a couple of us, and he wants to keep it that way. I think I'm a lot like the first dog. Recently, I took a survey of it was about 50 questions, and it ranged from different multiple choice questions to different short answer questions. And upon getting my results, I was shocked. It told me I was 100% extrovert, that I didn't have an ounce of introversion in my body. Now, yeah, it's possible that these results are slightly wrong, but, I'm an extrovert, and that's what it said. I've always known I was an extrovert. Part of being an extrovert is that I'm friends with many introverts. Some of my closest friends are introverts. And I've found that while we go out at night, my social battery is charged by, being social, while theirs is weakened. Many of my friends probably would not go talk with a random person about any topic or do a speech in front of 1,000 people as I recently did. And that's fine. I thrive off of being in the spotlight, while some of my friends would rather hang off to the side and need that time to rejuvenate. I think the most obvious difference that people recognize between extroverts and introverts is their social life. Obviously extroverts are a whole lot more social than introverts. But it wouldn't take a genius to figure out that many extroverts are also really more open about their feelings, and they can talk with anybody, versus introverts might only talk with a few people about their feelings, if any. But we're going to start with introverts. Introverts tend to have close relationships in their life, but very few. They might opt to do a sport, but would only do an individual sport rather than a team sport. Eric Barker points out that in school, introverts also tend to have better academic performance and cognitive abilities. Basically, they can retain information better as well as perform better overall in school. And this doesn't mean that extroverts can't do well in school. It just means that, in general, introverts do better. Communication, however, is where introverts start to lack. They might commit to doing something in a group chat with their group of friends, but then when the time comes and they realize their social battery is drained, but because your friend is a good friend, they're still going to come and do whatever they plan to do, even if they have to fake it and act like they're having fun when in reality they just want to be at home. Extroverts, however, are the opposite. We tend to be more social and have more social connections. With that, we get praised more for those social connections. In a study done by Amena Al-Shamasi, extroverts are more social, and they have their communication with extroverts. There's a link between that. Basically, if an extrovert reaches out to you, there's a good chance, they're an extrovert. In a separate study done by Cornell professor Michael Lin, extroverts are more likely to tip in a restaurant versus introverts. Introverts tend to feel guilt for being served, whereas an extrovert might not. Now, there are some pros and cons to being extroverts and introverts as well. So as an introvert, you are a better listener, and you have better observational skills, but you also might feel awkward in big social settings versus extroverts who feel pretty good in big social settings. Extroverts also tend to make better social connections, and they get praised for that because of their better social connections. This happens in the workplace as well. So when we have big companies, it's common that the face of the company is an extrovert and that the people close to them are an introvert. This happens in politics. Bill Clinton, one of our former presidents, he was a raging extrovert, but his vice president, Al Gore, was a natural-born introvert. Some of our famous innovators of our time also, though, are introverts. So if you know Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, both of them are natural introverts, and they embraced their personality and then continued to be two of the most successful people in our world today. But some people might want to change and be different, become an extrovert or become an introvert. And so if you were to do that, it would take a lot of time, a lot of effort. As Susan Cain points out, extroversion or introversion is one of the most heritable traits at about 50%. So 50% of your personality comes from your parents. For example, my mother is an extrovert, and my father is an introvert. So based off that, I should be smack dab in the middle as an ambivert. But, how am I the poster child of an extrovert? Well, I grew up always being told to speak my mind, not to mention the older brother that was always trying to pick on me. In that, I also grew up in a not-so-quiet household. I have a twin sister, and so at one point, we had 3 toddlers running around and screaming all the time. Someone who has grown up in a quieter environment is more likely to be an introvert. As an extrovert, I like talking, so if I were to try and switch to an introvert, I would have to learn to talk less and be less open about my feelings. For an introvert to switch to an extrovert, they would have to learn to talk more, talk with the people that they first are close with, and then branch out and talk with people that they don't quite know yet. They would have to be more assertive and not take, you have to be more assertive, and when you're going to talk with different people about differing views, you have to accept that, your view is correct, but so is theirs, and you might receive scrutiny for your view, but you have to accept that. Obviously, both sides have their pros. An extrovert is good at leading people. We lead by what we say. An introvert is also great leaders. They lead by what they do rather than say. And they're also very independent. So an introvert might not need to go talk with somebody about how their day went or what happened at school versus, I'm going to go home later and tell my mom what a great job I did today at a TED Talk. But we need each type. We need extroverts and we need introverts in our life. Without them, we create a society in which we don't have balance. So if we didn't have introverts, we wouldn't have, we would always have people telling us what to do. And there would be no balance of just, do this, do this, do this. Without extroverts, we create a situation in which we can't make social connections that, we would make versus, we won't go out into a classroom and, just start talking with a random person or, to see someone out on the street, you'd be like, oh, I like your hair. So if I could leave you with one final thought today, it would be that it doesn't matter what type of personality you are. It's rather you embrace that personality. Just like your dog is, embracing the fact that he's either super, excited to see you when you get home or couldn't care less, you should embrace your personality. Thank you.